dark anniversary.
It became obvious that we had a serial killer in our midst.
A look back at the chilling case of the Windsor slasher nearly 80 years ago. Unwanted.
I'd like to see a blitz in Windsor. The open drug use is just not good.
A call to double down on open drug use. And new life-saving treatment.
We were able to offer hope to people that we would have been not able to do a couple of years ago.
Windsor Regional Hospital launches a stem cell transplant program.
CTV News with Stefanie Masotti.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us, and hello to those listening to us on AM 800. A groundbreaking step today for local cancer care. Windsor Regional Hospital is launching its first ever autologous stem cell transplant program. The new service will allow cancer patients to receive life-saving treatment right here at home. CTV's Chris Campbell joins us now with the details tonight. Chris.
Yes, Stephanie, this machine is a first for Windsor and a game changer for patients battling blood cancers or other diseases that may damage the bone marrow. Starting this month, Windsor Regional Hospital will begin offering this procedure, and it's one that uses the patient's own healthy stem cells. Autologous stem cell transplants involve collecting a patient's own stem cells and returning them to the body after chemotherapy. It's a complex procedure, but now patients in Windsor, Essex will be able to get it done without leaving the region.
We're in a stage where we're able to offer hope to people that we would have been not able to do a couple of years ago. And as the new treatments come out, more and more are based on these cellular therapies.
The hospital has spent years preparing to deliver the program. The first patient is scheduled for July 8th, with a goal of treating 30 patients each year.
We're just starting out over the next 6 to 12 months, taking things a little bit slow, just making sure that we're doing things with as high a quality and to as good a standard as possible.
We see that survivorship in cancer patients is on the rise because of these advancements in treatment. So number one, we want to see that the community in Windsor, Essex has access to this life-saving treatment that will enhance and prolong longevity for people who do have cancer.
The program is supported by the province and local donors, including the Windsor Cancer Centre Foundation. Local politicians applaud the move, saying better care at home leads to better outcomes for patients and their families. Windsor-Tecumseh MPP Andrew Dowie sharing the memory of his late father Jim, who passed in 2017.
In the end, it wasn't the right treatment for him, but now, thanks to advancements and now equipment here, his story may be told differently, and so that's the hope and the optimism that this announcement brings to our community, that families will remember the past, but have a lot more hope for the future.
As a smaller center known for delivering research and treatments that are above our grade, and that's been a huge badge of pride for us, for our teams to be able to provide this care to patients who they truly want to provide the best care possible. They want to see patients do well. They want to see caregivers have their family members do well. This is a huge advancement for them as well. Officials say the launch of the stem cell transplant program marks a new chapter in cancer care for Windsor, Essex. The ability to restore bone marrow's ability to produce healthy blood cells. And for patients facing tough battles, it's one less hurdle in their fight. Stephanie?
A great addition to the hospital. Okay, Chris Campbell with our top story tonight. Thank you, Chris. In other news, a youth injured in an ATV collision in Chatham, Kent last week has died from their injuries. Police say 3 youth were riding on private property when the collision happened. The youth, who was unresponsive when officers arrived, was rushed to hospital, then airlifted to London with life-threatening injuries. But despite best efforts, the youth did not make it. A 2-vehicle crash in Chatham, Kent has claimed the life of a Newberry woman. The crash happened at Connessary Road and Gosnell Line around 3 yesterday. Police say 4 people in 1 vehicle were taken to hospital with minor injuries, while an 80-year-old in the second vehicle was rushed in with life-threatening injuries where she later died. Now, charges have been laid in a crash on the 401 on Friday morning. The crash kept the westbound lanes in Tecumseh closed for much of the day. 3 vehicles were involved in this crash. 2 drivers were taken to hospital, one of whom had serious injuries. An Orange Air ambulance attended the scene but was not used for transport. A 22-year-old Brampton man is charged with dangerous operation causing bodily harm. And in a response to a story we ran last week, speed bumps were installed on a busy Tecumseh street over the weekend, and a radar trailer was deployed. OPP recently stepped up patrols on Arlington Boulevard in Tecumseh, focusing on aggressive and dangerous driving. Following a lot of complaints from neighbors about speeding and failing to stop at stop signs. Residents describing to CTV News a road rage incident last week that landed a neighbor in hospital with a brain bleed. The town says people are cutting down side streets to avoid road construction on Riverside Drive. Now the town is asking drivers to follow the posted detour, which is Tecumseh and Manning Road, not the adjacent streets. Now, a summer stroll along Windsor's riverfront is second nature now, but 80 years ago this month, it was a very dangerous thing to do. The city is marking a dark anniversary, one tied to a string of gruesome attacks many have never even heard of. Digging into this chilling case of the Windsor slasher is CTV's Travis Fortnum. And Travis, you were able to speak to some real experts about the history behind this story.
That's right, Stephanie. This is a series of brutal attacks down by Windsor's riverfront that happened the summers of 1945 and 1946. It was believed to be just one man targeting some of the city's most vulnerable, sparking fear, moral panic, and a complicated investigation.
The summer of 1945 brought peace, prosperity, and in Windsor, the promise of a fresh start.
You had the bustle of everybody coming back from war. Downtown was lovely. It was a great place to be. But when the night came up, Windsor was a very different town.
Those summer nights, the city's shadows started hiding something sinister.
There occurred a series of attacks and then very brutal killings that occurred in Windsor parks, very close to where we are right now.
On July 24th, a man was found near death in a riverfront park, stabbed 7 times. By summer's end, 3 attacks would be reported, 2 men killed.
All of a sudden it became obvious that we had a serial killer in our midst.
Local historian and author Patrick Brode details the story of the Windsor slasher in his book, The Slasher Killings. Post-war celebration derailed by fear.
Society suddenly didn't know who to trust anymore. People became hysterical with fear. You couldn't go out at night.
The slasher seemingly went quiet over the winter, but returned the summer of 46, and a pattern emerged.
All of a sudden, people realized that it was no mystery. The serial killer was victimizing one particular group. He was after gay men only.
This took the investigation and the public perception of the attacks down a different road. In the mid-40s, homosexuality was a crime. Even being suspected of being gay could lead to arrest, surveillance, job loss, and public shaming. Attention turned to the fact gay men were gathering by the river at night, not that they were being attacked and killed.
This is classic victim blaming, where it's like the equivalent of like when you say to some, like, oh, she deserved that because her skirt was too short.
On August 21st, 1946, police arrested 18-year-old Ronald Sears, linked to the case by a survivor's account and a knife left behind. He confessed. By then, 5 men had been attacked, 3 killed. A tumultuous trial saw Sears convicted of just 1 count, and after a brief stint in jail, he was sent to a psychiatric hospital.
His second last victim had been very cooperative with the police and told them exactly what happened, and that he had been involved in a gay encounter with Ron Sears. And for that, he was charged with gross indecency, and he ended up spending about 10 months in prison. So he spent more time in prison than Ron Sears did.
Sears died of tuberculosis in 1956. Over time, the Windsor slasher case was forgotten, but the story and what it reveals about Windsor lives on through Brode's research.
It's odd to see how society then, and probably any time, can be led into this kind of moral panic by a combination of information and media saying certain things that are demonstrably not true, but accepting them as so and working up this whole hysteria. It happened then, could happen again tomorrow.
So there's a lot more to this story than we can fit in just a couple of minutes. There's more in our online coverage, and of course there's more in Broad's book, The Slasher Killings. Stefanie.
A very disturbing part of our history, and we do have more on this later on in the newscast.
Yes,
correct?
that's right. Melanie Kentner will tell us more about the lasting legacy this has had on Windsor Police. There are still facets of the police service that exist to this day that were spawned because of this case.
Okay, looking forward to it. Travis Fortnum tonight. Thank you, Travis.
Thanks.
CTV meteorologist Gary Archibald joins me now for our first look at the weather from the top of the Bell Building tonight. And Gary, sunshine in the forecast.
Sunshine in the forecast for tomorrow, a mixture of sun and cloud after today with this blanket of gray overhead. This stratus deck of cloud has dominated the forecast since the late afternoon. There's a chance of a light shower between now and say 9 p.m. But for the most part, we'll see a clearing overnight starting at around 11 p.m. into early tomorrow morning. And the good news is for those who like it warm, it will warm up. Today was actually slightly below seasonal temperature wise. We'll see how warm it's likely to be and feel, and we'll look ahead towards the trend as the next couple of weeks could be rather volatile. I'll break down the complete weather forecast just ahead. For now, I'll send it back inside to you.
Vandalism has left pickleball players with one less court to play on at Fontainebleau Park. City officials say the damage was caused by someone lighting off fireworks. A handful of complaints came into the city on July 2nd. City workers cleaned up the area, but this is how the court looks now, and the city says there are no plans to replace the surface at this time. A sign outside reads, "Courts are for pickleball use only," but amenities like these are not locked at night in Windsor. The vandalism is described as an isolated incident. The city is asking the public to call 311 or the Windsor Police non-emergency number if they have any further information. Players describe this vandalism as sad.
Costs a lot of money for these courts, and the city put the money out, and now people are lighting fireworks. Go do it on the grass. I hope they have cameras or something they can find the people and make them pay for it.
City councilors say open drug use is no longer just a downtown issue. They're seeing it firsthand in their own neighborhoods. Now, some are asking whether Windsor should follow the lead of other cities, exploring more compassionate, community-based approaches to tackling the growing crisis. Here's CTV's Bob Belichico.
See that this tool is available and other jurisdictions are using it. I certainly think it's something that we should be doing too.
City Councillor Ronaldo Agostino says other municipalities have implemented plans dealing with drug use on city streets.
In some cases, they're taking the drugs away. They're taking paraphernalia away. In some cases, they're laying charges. A lot of it comes with compassion. A lot of it comes with education.
Other communities across Ontario, including Sarnia and London, have stepped up their efforts to clean up open drug use from their streets. And Agostino wonders if the same can be done here in the city of Windsor. And that's a question he'll bring up at council in the near future.
What this is all about is gaining back some control on our streets.
I'd like to see a blitz in Windsor. The open drug use is just not good. It's you know, we've seen an instance of that even in Ward 8 here in Windsor, and people don't want to see that.
While Windsor police haven't committed to a formal enforcement blitz, they acknowledge the community concerns surrounding open drug use.
Whether it is downtown or any other place in the city, we will strategically place our officers where they're needed.
Since Strengthen the Core was put into place last year, officers and auxiliary officers have become more visible.
We are doing our best to collaborate with our community partners to make sure that vulnerable in our community get the services they need for their health and care and well-being.
A one-day blitz in Sarnia conducted last week led to 5 arrests for open drug use, including 1 charge of trafficking. While there is frustration over drug use and the lack of arrests, Sarnia Mayor Mike Bradley feels when the health hard hubs open, those days could come to an end.
You'll be 30 days off drugs or alcohol before you go into this place, but you'll get everything. You'll get housing components, you'll get the healthcare component, the addiction treatment. That is the key. And I'm hoping the province will look at doing that right across this province.
Bob Belichico, CTV News.
Chatham Kent is preparing to dismantle a homeless encampment on Thames Street ahead of a major construction project this fall. The municipality says the decision is necessary for safety, but it's also raising concerns about where displaced individuals will go. The encampment near downtown Chatham has become a temporary home for several unhoused residents, but with slope stabilization work scheduled for later this year, officials say the area must be cleared. The municipality has started notifying those staying at that site. Outreach workers are offering support and trying to connect individuals with shelters and other services. Officials say they're following established encampment protocols, aiming for a compassionate transition before work crews arrive. The removal of tents is slated to start a week from today on July 14th. Meanwhile, Chatham Kent Police are reminding residents that golf carts cannot be driven on public roads or highways except where a specific pilot project is underway. Police say they are getting an increase in reports of golf carts being driven on local roads, but carts do not meet the required safety and licensing standards. They usually do not have proper lighting, turn signals, mirrors, seat belts, or structural protection. Officers say they not only pose a danger to the operator and other motorists, but it is also against the law. Devastation in Texas. After heavy floods sweep through a summer camp, the latest still ahead on Windsor's News Leader. A cleaner downtown with cleaner technology. When we return, the city invests in its first electric street sweeper.
Start your day with the latest local news. By signing up for our newsletter, you'll get direct local content straight from CTV Windsor to your inbox, including top stories, the forecast, and videos. You can sign up at ctvnewswindsor.ca.
An urgent search is underway for survivors in Texas after more than 90 people were killed in deadly flash flooding, among them dozens of children. CTV's Adrian Gobriel on the tragedy and criticism for a slow response.
As the search for survivors intensifies, the full scale of this deadly disaster is coming into focus. This footage shares a glimpse of just some of the 850 life and death high water rescues that took place. Hundreds of state and federal first responders and more than a dozen canine units are on the ground, including volunteers on foot and horseback.
If it was my babies, I'd want somebody looking, so that's why I'm here.
Dozens of children have been confirmed dead, with another 10 campers and one counselor, as of this morning, still missing from Camp Mystic, a Christian girls' camp.
I've lost near friends, best friends, my boss, my godchildren, my house, my car.
The camp, perched along the Guadalupe River, saw floodwaters rise 8 meters in just 45 minutes. 2 hours north in Kingsland, Texas, this time lapse shows just how quickly floodwaters rose.
You know that your child is going to be swimming and canoes and horseback riding and doing archery and making lifetime friends. And then suddenly it turns to tragedy.
With the National Weather Service saying their flood warnings were timely and accurate, questions about weather alerts reached those most at risk remain, with the mayor of Kerrville, Texas, admitting he never received one.
Everyone here, if we could have warned them, we would have done so. And we didn't even have a warning. We did not know.
The city manager of Kerrville asked today why an evacuation order wasn't issued.
It's very tough to make those calls because what we also don't want to do is cry wolf.
An answer that will bring little comfort to those who've lost so much.
With the U.S. president signing a major disaster declaration for Carroll County, Texas, Federal Emergency Management Agency resources have been deployed as ongoing discussions to close down FEMA are still taking place, according to a White House spokesperson today. Adrian Gobriel, CTV News, Washington.
We have Donald Trump's trade war against Canada to thank for ongoing negotiations between the provinces. Today, the premiers of Alberta and Ontario signed a memorandum to boost trade and cooperation. But as CTV's Rachel Aiello reports, there's some skepticism.
Free trade being one within all the provinces that will add over $200 billion to our economy.
Ontario Premier Doug Ford touting the potential of Canada-wide free trade after signing new agreements with Alberta to advance energy infrastructure and support the automotive and alcohol manufacturing sectors.
Today's signing marks an historic partnership founded in a mutual ambition to reach the full potential of our provinces.
This deal is the latest in a series of policy moves made in recent months to try and limit the damage caused by U.S. President Donald Trump's trade war by breaking down interprovincial trade barriers. Though a new report out today from a left-leaning think tank argues that the notion that resolving such issues could lead to more than $200 billion in economic gains is pure fantasy. One of its authors cautions the cost of cutting this red tape could result in a race to the bottom for safety and service standards.
I think Canadians need to be wary, and they need to be cautious anytime they see a government saying they're doing something to respond to a national emergency, right?
Meanwhile, one of the authors of the report where the $200 billion estimate originated acknowledged politicians have overstated his estimate.
It's also an estimate that we put forward that represents the maximum possible gains from fully eliminating all of the internal trade barriers in Canada, which so far no government has put anything on the table to actually achieve that objective.
Today, Internal Trade Minister Chrystia Freeland's office said the federal government knows there's more work to do. That work will continue tomorrow when the ministers responsible for internal trade from each province and territory meet in Quebec City. Rachel Aiello, CTV News, Ottawa.
The City of Windsor is stepping up efforts to keep the downtown core cleaner, and it's getting help from a new high-tech recruit who's ready to hit the streets. Meet Rosie, the newest addition to the downtown cleanup crew. This $30,000 sweeper is the first of its kind in the region. Emission-free, low maintenance, and all electric, Rosie is designed to vacuum up debris from sidewalks, pathways, and paved alleys. She's part of a pilot project that runs through next summer. And if successful, the city hopes to eventually place a Rosie in every BIA across the city.
One person operating the actual unit, one person kind of picking larger garbage that it can't sweep up. So, like I said, that was a commitment for us to be down here. We want the residents to see us down here. We want the staff and the residents to interact with each other. We want to hear the feedback. We want people to, feel that their money's going somewhere that's providing some value for them.
So do you support the city purchasing a new electric street sweeper to help keep downtown cleaner? Go to our website to cast your vote, ctvnewswindsor.ca. On Friday, we asked if you think the federal government should drop or reduce the EV mandates of 20% electric sales by 2026. Well over 1,000 people voted. 70% of respondents say drop them. 22% say reduce them. The remaining 8% say stay with the current plan. Striking Best Western workers from Windsor traveled to Ingersoll this weekend to picket outside another one of the employer's properties.
Solidarity! It was the people in this area that said, well, come to this beautiful property here that is owned by Farhi Holdings, and let's just let people know what's going on in Windsor.
More than a dozen hotel staff handed out pamphlets at the Elmhurst Inn and Spa. The property is owned by Farhi Holdings Corporation, which also runs the Best Western on Windsor's riverfront. Windsor hotel employees have been on the picket line for more than 5 weeks. Traveling to Ingersoll, Union President Emile Nebout says served as a sign of solidarity with locals in the London area.
This is a unity trying to call on Farhi, the owner of Farhi Holding, to come to the table and bargain a fair deal for our employee who have been on a picket line for almost 5 weeks till today.
The town of Amherstburg is scaling back plans for a local park after missing out on provincial funding. Town officials recently learned they will not receive funding for the redevelopment of Centennial Park. A previous $1 million plan included multi-use courts, tennis courts, and a pathway around the park. Council will now have to decide which items they can afford to keep. Amherstburg had earmarked more than $500,000 for the space. This heads to council on July 14th.
A lot of people are saying option 4, which is the pathway, because as many know, we have a long-term facility coming in, we have the seniors, we have the hub. It makes a lot of sense. And then I'm getting a lot of people, and my original fight why I got on council was basketball courts, tennis courts, something for the kids of the teenage years.
Canada's main stock index finished lower, driven partly by weakness in real estate stocks as U.S. markets fell. In Toronto, the TSX lost 16 points. In New York, the Dow fell 422, the Nasdaq dropped 189. The Canadian dollar is down a quarter cent today. On commodity markets, gold is down a dime an ounce, and oil gained 93 cents a barrel. Just one hot dog a day, an 11% higher risk of diabetes. One sugary drink, your heart and health take a hit. Still ahead, how much is too much?
Let's look at our CTV News weather snapshot. Thanks to Elizabeth Bourdoin for this great image. Just ahead, will slightly cooler than average temperatures be in store for the overnight? How's Tuesday playing out weather-wise? Answers coming up next.
Discussion here at Windsor City Hall.
Windsor's top stories.
A major project is about to get underway.
Breaking news alerts.
Severe weather is a possibility.
And watch live.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us.
Download the CTV News app.
The skies today and temperature drastically different than what we experienced over the weekend. Gary joins me again.
Bit cloudy today, bit cooler than seasonal, and we're looking at some showers, very light, drizzly-like activity through the midday. Today, 25.6 degrees Celsius, obviously below our high for this time of year, our average high near 28. And we're still looking at a cool-ish evening, relatively speaking, for a summer evening affair. 25 degrees and cloudy at the airport in Windsor. That's 77 degrees Fahrenheit, 23, a couple of degrees cooler in Chatham-Kent. Hello to our friends there. That's 73 degrees Fahrenheit. Pardon me, 77 degrees Fahrenheit is 25 degrees Celsius in Windsor. What does it feel like? Well, it's been a bit humid, not drastically so. 32 at the airport right now, about 29, almost 30 in Chatham-Kent, and mid to upper 20s along the 401 corridor between here and London, Kitchener, Waterloo. And we're still looking at temperatures starting to moderate across the prairies, cooling off a bit. Only 16 degrees in Winnipeg. It's warmer in Thunder Bay at 23, and Toronto, 28 degrees Celsius. This cold front brought us that very light rain across extreme southwestern Ontario late in the morning, around 11:30 a.m. through to about 12:30, 1 o'clock. We don't anticipate any post-frontal activity, so that bodes well for a relatively clear overnight and some sunny breaks. A mixture of sun and cloud for tomorrow, your Tuesday, before Wednesday becomes more of an active weather affair with scattered showers and maybe even a light thunder shower. For tonight, we're down to 23 degrees, mostly cloudy, I think, at that juncture. Feels like a warm 29, partly cloudy at 10 p.m., 22 degrees Celsius, feels like 28. At midnight, 20 degrees. Under mostly clear conditions, feels like about 25. So another mild summer night into an early morning, typical of this time of the year in southwestern Ontario. Courtesy of Versailles Heating and Cooling 7-day forecast. Take a look at the next 7 days. Highs and lows expected. Tomorrow, 29, feels like 34. UV index is almost off the charts, very high at 10. So protect yourself. A mixture of sun and cloud, mostly cloudy with showers possible. Look at that, about 30% next 3 days, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 26, 29, 30, and then we'll be close to 30 degrees Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, with cloudiness and passing showers a possibility.
Lifetime. Brought to you by Safeguard Medical Alert Systems.
Washington has taken a scalpel to the public health budget in the U.S., but the cuts could come with a cost for Canada. In an editorial posted this week in the Canadian Medical Association Journal, the authors write, "Coordinated attacks on U.S. health institutions by the country's executive office have drastically reduced their capacity to collect, interpret, and share data in the service of public health delivery. Data that Canada relies on for tracking the spread of infections like Mpox or measles, where better data collection can lead to earlier detection, greater prevention, and a better response."
We certainly were piggybacking on a lot of that. And now that that's been cut, it's definitely past time that we pick up the slack.
Hot dogs and hamburgers are a backyard barbecue staple, but a new study is warning about the risks of processed meats. In fact, it finds there is no safe level of consumption. Here's CTV's Pauline Chan, who takes a closer look at what you should keep in mind this barbecue season.
3, 2, 1. Hot dog eating contests may not be particularly good for your health, but a new study by U.S. and U.K. researchers suggests even one hot dog a day puts you at increased risk for common health conditions.
They looked at some commonly consumed things like sugar-sweetened beverages and processed meats and trans fats, and they wanted to know how those things related to common conditions like diabetes and heart disease and colon cancer.
Researchers looked at dozens of previous studies involving several million participants in total and found even minimal increases in consumption resulted in a rise in health risks. For example, eating a hot dog a day was associated with an 11% increased risk of type 2 diabetes and at least a 7% increased risk of colorectal cancer. Drinking 1 can of sugar-sweetened beverage a day was linked to an 8% increased risk of type 2 diabetes and a 2% greater risk of ischemic heart disease. And even a small amount of trans fatty acids a day led to a 3% greater risk of ischemic heart disease.
Processed meats include deli meats like ham and salami, bacon, as well as things like hot dogs. And we've known for a while that processed meats are a Class 1 carcinogen, particularly with respect to risk for colon cancer. And this study found that, as well as they also linked processed meats to increased risk for diabetes, which is something that is emerging in the literature.
Why is processed meat so harmful?
It's probably multifactorial. It could be some of the processing that you mentioned. It also could be the content of saturated fat. And it also could be a number of things about the ways that we cook them.
While one of the researchers says the study shows there is no safe level of consumption for processed meat, sugary drinks, and trans fats, Dr. Mary Scow acknowledges that it's hard to completely eliminate all these foods from our diet.
You want to avoid eating them on a regular daily basis. And when you do eat them, you want to make sure that they're in the context of an otherwise healthy diet, balanced with lots of vegetables, lots of fiber.
She recommends following the Mediterranean diet and says diet is one of the most important strategies for reducing health risks. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
Rhythm returns coming up on Windsor's News Leader. 2 new jazz festivals and 1 unforgettable celebration of rhythm and soul.
Multi-platinum classical group Il Divo returns to the Coliseum stage with their By Candlelight Tour Friday, October 10th. Enter online at ctvwindsor.ca for your chance to win a 4-pack of tickets to see Il Divo at Caesars Windsor, plus a $250 gift card.
Many Canadians continue to boycott trips to the U.S. after Donald Trump started a trade war. Now, some airlines are actually adding flights to the Atlantic provinces.
Touching down in PEI just got a lot easier for Toronto travelers.
More options is better.
Porter now flies daily between Charlottetown and Canada's biggest city, up from 4 times per week. It also added new links to Moncton and Deer Lake. The airline says it ramped up service this summer, partly because more Canadians are skipping the States. It also has more jets to handle the influx.
We've made quite a few schedule changes in the U.S. over the past few months to reflect some softening of the demand.
In June, Statistics Canada data showed Canadian return trips from the U.S. fell for 5 straight months.
Because of Trump. Because of the rhetoric from Trump about taking over Canada.
I guess they're just afraid of crossing over the border.
Porter says it's seeing 20% more domestic bookings from June through August than in 2024.
We go where the demand is. The overall PEI market is newer to us, but we've been able to grow our presence in there because people have tried us over the years and they want to keep trying us on all the markets they can.
It's not just Porter or PEI riding the wave. WestJet added direct flights to Halifax and Deer Lake from major cities across the country, and Air Canada expanded its schedule across the East Coast.
The runways open and airlines are watching what the numbers say. If the appetite for Atlantic Canada stays strong, new routes could be cleared for takeoff long term. Maria Saru, CTV News, Charlottetown.
Meanwhile, the city of Windsor is getting ready for a big celebration of their own. Its 133rd birthday party is planned for this Saturday. From 11 a.m. to 7 p.m., residents are invited to a day of free, family-friendly fun at City Hall Square. The new event space at City Hall Square will officially open with live entertainment and, of course, free cupcakes and hot dogs. It was a historic weekend of rhythm and heart for Windsor's jazz scene. 2 new festivals celebrating the genre made their debuts. Here's some of the sights and sounds.
Well, it all came together. It's an outgrowth of our series at Mackenzie Hall. We've been running 14 years. I think it's a testament to interest in jazz in Windsor. There's been an uptick in it. You know, there's some new young players that have come along the last 8 or 9 years. You know, jazz is, I don't think, ever going to be wildly popular, but there's definitely been an increase in younger people. You probably saw it at the festival yesterday.
Mostly instrumental version of contemporary black music. Because of the influence of Detroit in not just jazz, but really all kind of black musics, you know, Windsor has a pretty diverse musical community kind of thanks to that.
They always are saying that jazz is, you know, on its way out or this and that, but this is a music that's been around now for about 120 years. I don't see it going anywhere.
A well-known voice in Canadian music is making his way to Windsor. Johnny Reid hit the Coliseum stage at Caesars Windsor on October 3rd. With over 2 million albums sold worldwide, Reid has earned 5 Juno Awards, 28 Canadian Country Music Association Awards, and a SOCAN National Achievement Award. Tickets go on sale this Friday.
Unscripted, unpredictable, and unapologetic. Wake up with Hannah and Johnny on 93.9 Virgin Radio.
This is your CTV Windsor Our Community Calendar. Get your duck today and join the Hospice of Windsor Essex at Lakeview Park, July the 25th, to see thousands of numbered rubber ducks racing to be the first to float across the finish line. See you next time on Our Community.
It's time to check in on what's happening now with Melanie Kentner. And Melanie, you have more on the legacy of the Windsor slasher.
That's right. The case Travis told us about didn't just leave a mark on the city's psyche, it also left a lasting impact on local policing. The Windsor Police Service credits this case with helping spark the creation of the Auxiliary Police Force, now a formal part of the service. But back then, author Patrick Brode says the early version of that force wasn't out to catch the slasher. It was focused on targeting the gay men he was attacking.
That was a kind of an unfortunate byproduct of it, in that they thought that they should have non-police, just strictly glorified amateurs, wandering through the parks trying to find homosexuals or perverts, or as they called them in those days. In those days, they were people who were just taken off the street with a lot of enthusiasm and not really much in the way of instructions as to what to do. And I would think that in 1945, this group was probably more of a threat than a benefit.
We've got more details online at ctvnewswindsor.ca.
And we've also got a story online, Melanie, about harassment charges in Chatham-Kent.
Yes, Chatham-Kent police say a man called the non-emergency line 30 times. The communications center started getting repeated calls from the same phone number around 12:30 a.m. on Sunday, and it continued over several hours. Police say the caller did not have a legitimate emergency to report. Officers went to a residence in Erio and arrested the 46-year-old man. You can find more police stories on our website. And in our social spotlight tonight, this might be one of the worst rides to get stuck on. Oh boy, well, at least they aren't stuck hanging upside down on a roller coaster. But that song is going to be in their heads for the next month, Stefanie.
Yeah, without a doubt. My additional concern here is if any of the kids, any of the toddlers have to go to the washroom, or some of them get a little frustrated if they're hungry. Definitely two concerns I have there.
Yeah, no kidding. Hopefully they all made it off and not too long of a wait.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, Melanie. And that's what's happening now.
Dust on the wind, boots on the ground.
Is it real or a good fake? When we return, the blurring line between the work of a person and a machine. Can you tell the difference? Yeah, very cloudy out there today.
Yeah, cloudy, a few showers in late morning, early afternoon, but very, very light drizzle. Now we're looking at a cooler evening, and overnight temperature could drop down to about 15 degrees before dawn Tuesday morning. Then we're up to 29, feeling like about 34, high UV. 10, so protect yourself. Mostly cloudy through the midweek through Thursday and Friday, with about a 30% chance of showers. Temperatures climbing from 26, 29 to 30 over that 3-day stretch. The weekend's cloudy for the most part, 31 followed by 29, then 29 a week from now. On Monday, that's a look at your 7-day forecast, courtesy of Sal's Heating and Cooling.
Okay, Gary, this next story is something we've discussed time and time again in this newsroom. The very debate about a fake, in this case, band. Music by the group called Velvet Sundown appeared on streaming services last month and quickly gained a following. It was weeks before anyone realized that the music and photos of the band were all AI generated. Here's CTV's John Venevali-Rao.
AI is officially getting scary.
On TikTok, there's been plenty of buzz.
This is Velvet Sundown.
About the band, which is adding hundreds of thousands of listeners daily on Spotify.
Dust on the wind, boots on the ground.
Checking out songs AI generated, released by a supposed group called the Velvet Sundown, which very little is known about. And even if it's AI, many we played the music for we're impressed.
I would say definitely if you put it on the radio, it would chart.
If you just told me and you didn't tell me that was AI, I probably wouldn't have known.
There are what appear to be AI-generated pictures of the group.
Are you sure we're not real?
Which has put out 2 albums and first flagged as suspicious by users on Reddit.
I think it's pretty good. I think it's no better or no worse than probably thousands of songs that come my way.
The attention it's getting intensifying the debate over whether AI music should be clearly labeled as such, something Spotify and many other streamers don't do.
It's basically the Wild West across Spotify because you can post content and you're not required to let anyone know that it is in fact AI generated.
Music streaming service Deezer uses a tool to detect AI songs. As of April, it said 18% of all music uploaded, that's 20,000 songs a day, are entirely AI generated.
That company recently started flagging AI music to its listeners. The CEO writing, AI is not inherently good or bad, but we believe a responsible and transparent approach is key to building trust with our users and the music industry.
Do you think they should label this stuff as AI?
I definitely think they should label it. I feel like some people just don't want to listen to AI like content or like see that.
But some aren't all that fussed about labeling.
I would listen to it anyway, even if it's AI, because good music's good music.
And no matter your views, it is another noteworthy AI moment. John Benavelli-Rouse, CTV News, Toronto.
I mean, to each their own if they want to listen to it or not, but I really do think it should be labeled as AI generated.
I agree. It's interesting. But whoever comes up with great software to identify AI, whether it's songs, photographs, video, I think they are in for a lucrative deal with the company, right? I mean, that's scary. Even, I mean, the photography is phenomenal, right? The album cover looks great. Wow.
Yeah, definitely
How do you
concerning.
know this newscast is an AI?
Oh, don't question that. Don't question that. On behalf of our dedicated team here at CTV News Windsor, thank you so much for watching.
Have a good night. Oh, yes, for updates throughout you know that wasn't AI. Updates, go to ctvnewswindsor.ca. My terrible sense of humor, AI
We'll
would
be
not
back
approve.
at 11 o'clock.